In this video you will learn how to create rating system for your website. We are going to create the rating system where every person will be able to vote only once, and then we are going to store all the details in our database, and later when they revisit the website we are going to immediately detect that they have already rated and they won't be able to do it, of course, anymore. So let's do it. So now I'm here at my PHP store, and first thing that we are going to do is we'll just create a basic page layout. So I will just say, okay, I want to create HTML website, and then let's say this here, I'll say rating system. And now we are not going to spend a lot of the time creating like the content from the page, so we are just going to create the place where they are able to actually rate. So I will say we will have one div. I will just align everything to the center, and maybe let's just apply some basic. Okay, so this is black, and then let's say padding will be 50 pixels. That's it. Okay, so now let's grab FontAwesome. Okay, so I'll go to FontAwesome. I will go to the home page, go to start using free, and I'm not going to change any of the options, so I'll just grab this, add it to our head. Okay, and that's it. And now what you are able to do is to just say, okay, I class 4 star, and you should get 1 star icon on our website. Okay, so probably it's black now, so maybe we can change the color to the white. Okay, let's see. Yeah, as you can see now we have 1 icon. And for those of you that are not familiar with the FontAwesome, basically it's a completely free library. Of course there is a paid version, but it's free library where you are able to actually get a lot of the icons for your website. So basically all you need to do is just to check free here, and then you can just search. There's like thousands of different icons that you can use for your website, including the social media and whatnot. Okay, so there are so many of those, and you will see them on pretty much any website. I'm using it on my personal own, so it's really good to know about those. Okay, so let me now create 5 more. So I will just say, okay, this will be star, and then I want it to be 2 times bigger than the default one. Okay, like this, something very simple. And then let's add 4 more. Okay, 5. So we will have now 5 different stars that someone is able to do. So now what we are going to create is, I want first to create an effect, so when someone goes with the mouse over, I want to make sure that the color of the stars is changing, and in that way we are able to actually feel like real. Okay, I'm going to give 2 stars, 3 stars, whatever. So in order to do that, I'm going first to download the jQuery. Okay, so I'll go to the code.jquery.com. I will use minified version. I will just copy. Okay, then I will just paste it here at the bottom. So just a second, I like it to be in 1 line. Okay, and then here we are going to write our custom script. Okay, so first I want to wait for complete document load, so I'll say on document ready. Okay, and now first thing that I want to do is I want that always by default we set all of those icons to the white. So they are already like that, but in case that you don't want to use an inline here, you can just put the code here. So whatever you like, we can even leave the inline as default. And then I want for each of these classes, for each star, I want okay, to set hover effect. So I will say mouse over, we'll call the function, and then let's for now just print to the console log. So I'll say here whatever, just so you can see it works, and then maybe we can add mouse leave, okay, here too. So let's see, is it going to work? So I'll open the console, okay, over, okay, it works for each of those, which is good. Okay, so now the next thing that we want to do is, first, each time when the mouse is over, I want to reset. So I'll say far star, and then, or even what's even better is that we can delete this. So let me show why. Okay, and then we can have one function that we will say, okay, reset star colors, so that later, in case that you want to quickly change the colors, it's always in one function. So we'll just say here far star CSS color, and then we'll say white. Okay, so on the page load we are going to do it, so we'll say reset, okay, and then each time in each of those we will do it 2, okay, and then if the mouse is over, let's now find on which of those the mouse is over. So maybe what we can do is to add some data index to each of those. So I'll say data index. Okay, so this is 1 star, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then we are going to say current. Okay, current index is, and we'll say this dot attribute data index, or even, since it's always the same, we can say like data index. Okay, and then what we want to do, so first we have reset it to the default. Now we know what is the current, and now we want to start. So we are going to say for var equal 1 less than, no, less and equal current index I plus plus, and then all we need to do is we just want for that icon. Okay, we want to change the color, so let's say we will want to have a green, and that's it. And now on the mouse leave we will just press, so let's see what will happen. Okay, so over, okay, so it works backwards, I'm not sure why is that. We are on the first, so this is quite weird. Let's see. Okay, yep, it's okay, because the problem is that we are starting the index from the 1, and this one is at 0 position. So maybe it's even better if we just change those. Okay, and then in that case this won't happen. Okay, so let's see now. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, hope this makes sense. Okay, so now we are able to create that effect. You can of course put the yellow or whatever the color you want, and let's now say that when someone click on any of those, we want to remember that rating, and we want to save it somewhere. So let's do it. So let's first define here like rated or rated index, let's say -1, which means that person didn't rate at all, because we have from 0 to 4, and if we set it's -1, that means that he didn't vote. So then on the mouse leave here we will say if rated index different than -1, then in that case we will just do this the same thing but with rated index. Okay, and now we need just to enable click on those, so that in case when someone click, we are going just to remember that. Okay, so I'll say on click function, and then here we will say that our rated index is parse integer this dot data index. Okay, let's see now. So I will refresh. So let's say here rated index is -1. So now if I go on this position, go out, nothing, but if I go and click, go out, it stays. So let's check our rated index. It's 2, which means 0, 1, 2, it's the third one. Okay, and now of course if I go with mouse over again, it means that someone is able to change his ratio, but the problem is he won't be able to like completely remove that vote. So it needs to be one of the options. There is no option to just not vote at all if he's already did it. Okay, so now when someone click, we have remembered this, and what we can do now, the best option for this is of course to have some login registration system, so only registered people will be able to rate, and in that case we are like 100% sure that they cannot vote multiple times. But in the scenario like this, where people are not logged in and we need to remember those, we have a couple of options. One is to try to find their IP address and store it to the database and verify each time did they vote or not. Then the next one is store it to the cookies or the local storage, and that's it. Each of those have its pros and cons. Each of those can be bypassed, like there isn't like 100% protection. So in our case, whatever we use will be good enough for your understanding how it all works. So let's say we are going to use the local storage. So I will say just local storage dot set item, and then I will just say here rated index, and then I will just put it. Okay, so let's see now. So when I refresh and go to the application, local storage. Okay, so what's this? Nothing special, but we don't have here rated index. But when I choose and click, you can see now that my rated index is 1. And if I change my mind, we have changed this. Okay, so that means that even if someone refresh the page, we know that they already rated, and we will know what is their ratio. So what I can do now is that when we reset, we can see here that if local storage dot get item rated index, so let's see what it returns in case that there isn't. So I'll say just dot get item whatever, so it returns the null. So I'll say if is different than null. In that case, okay. So maybe this part we can move to the I'm just thinking maybe we should have a function that's say set stars, and then we'll say here max, because you can see that each time it's the same. Okay, so this here will be our max. So here I can say, okay, set stars rated index is max. Then in this case I can say set stars current index is max. Okay, and then here I can say set stars, and then I'll just say local storage get item rated index. Okay, so let's see now, refresh, boom, you can see now that he knows that I rated 3 stars. So if I rate 2 stars and if I refresh, it will stay. You can see it's always at 2 stars. And of course, if someone for whatever reason manipulate this and then refresh, it will work that way, but in the database it won't change. Okay, so it will be saved in the database only when we make a click. So we are going to implement that too. And of course, if we delete this and someone visits for the first time, you can see it's not remembered. Okay, cool. I hope this makes sense. And now the last thing that I want to do is let's save it to the database so that we have like database in place where all ratings are stored, and then we can calculate the average rate and stuff like that. Okay, so first thing first, let's create database. So PHP MyAdmin new, let's say here rating system, and I will use this. Okay, Unicode C. Where you go? Okay, and then let's say stars, whatever. Okay, and then maybe just 2 columns. Okay, so first one will be ID, auto increment, and the next one is, let's say num stars, or maybe rate index, whatever. It will be, let's say, tiny integer. Okay, and we'll save it. That's it. And now here when someone is clicked, we are going to save. So let's say I'll just save here, save to the database. Okay, and now we are going to write this function. Okay, function. Okay, and then here we'll just say Ajax. Okay, and I'll say URL is our index.php, and then method we'll just say post, and what else do we need? We need data type. No, what am I doing? Data type, let's say, will be JSON, and the data will be save, and then rate index, okay, and maybe, okay, just let me first write this, success function response. Okay, and maybe here we should have like user ID. Okay, so this will be ID from our database in case that someone change their rate. So by default, I will say here user ID is equal 0. Okay, which means that we need to add a new person, and in case that person exists, we are going to change this. So we'll do it a little bit later. For now, we'll just say that it will be there. Okay. And let's say on response, we can say that user ID is equal like this. Okay. Let's see now. Now in the PHP side, we are going to accept. So we'll say if isset post save. So we will have like rated index equal post rated index, and then we are going to have also user ID, and of course we need to have connection. Now, so it will be a localhost, it will be a root, password is empty, and our database is, if I'm not wrong, rating system. Let me check. Rating system stars. Okay. And then here we need, of course, to do some real escape. Okay. And then what we are going to do is we need to increase this rated index by 1 because we are starting from the 0. So if we have 10 1-star rated, then in that case it won't count, so that doesn't make sense. Okay, and now let's check if user ID equals 0. In that case we are just going to insert the person, so we can say insert into stars, and we have just rated index values rated index. Okay, and now we have different methods on how we are going to find the last ID, but for the simplicity I will just say like, okay, SQL is connection query. I'll say select ID from stars, order by ID, desk, limit 1. It means you are getting just the last one. So say user data is SQL fetch, let's say associative array, and then user ID is user data ID. Okay, and else if the person existed, we are just going to say, okay, connection query update stars set rated index equal rated index where ID equal user ID. Okay, and I think that I have made mistake here. Okay, we are missing this. Other than that, it looks good. Okay, and then we are each time going to return an array with ID that is user ID. Who? So many code, right? Anyway, user ID rated index saved just to verify. Okay, let's test this. So refresh, always go to the console, looks good. Network, let's try to vote. Boom. Okay, we have made new request. Okay, what does it say? Undefined function real escape string. How is that possible? Okay, let's see. Connection. Oh, it's here. My mistake. Okay, let's try again. Okay, boom. ID 0, super interested. Not sure why it doesn't work, but let's try like this. and now it's created. Now this is super weird. Anyway, we can see now that this is registered and there's rate index 3, which is good. Okay, we have sent 2. Okay, it's 3 in the database. That's okay. Now the last thing that we need to do is we need to remember this user ID. So I will just say, okay, local storage.set item. Let's say user ID is user ID, and that's it. And then when someone loads for the first time, then we are going to say, okay, local, okay, user ID is equal get item user ID. Okay, and now let's try. So of course now ID will be 2. Yeah, of course, this is now a problem. Let's see now. Now it shouldn't be anymore. Okay, so let's now just clear the database and then we can test everything now. Okay, let's now refresh. Of course, there is have been remembered. Okay, we will just delete those 2. Fresh. Okay, so now we will try to vote. Okay, now let's see in database. It looks good. Now let's see what has happened. The local storage. Okay, it says that user ID is undefined. Why? What's returned? Returned is 4. Okay, and let's see here, user ID again undefined. Why? So we are returning the JSON, and oh, it's because of this. Okay, let's see. Yep, my mistake. Let's try again. Okay, let's see now. Let's delete this. Okay, refresh. Let's try now. Okay, now user ID is 5 and rated index is 2. Okay, yeah, now it's okay. So now when someone refresh, we will immediately next time know who that person is, what is his vote, and if he decides to change his mind. Okay, he changed it, and now when we go to the database, we can see now that it's updated. But in case that someone new comes in, let's say like this, and we vote, now you can see that user ID has been changed and it's different index and we have in different number. So now in order for us to display this rating, like average rating, all we will need to do is like just to sum this entire rate index and display it on the page divided by the number of those. So that's very simple. So let's do it. So let's say I will move this here. Okay, and then here I will say sorry, I'll say okay, connection query. Let's say select sum rate index as total from stars. Okay, and then let's say rated data is equal SQL fetch array, and then I'll say okay, total is data total, and then now we also will need to get like how many rows we have in the database. So let's say I will just duplicate this one. So I will just say select ID from stars, and then I'll say num rated, I'll say SQL number of rows. Okay, and then we can see average is what? Total true number of rated. Okay, and then here we can say, okay, we will have 2 breaks, and then let's say I'll say here color is white, and here I will just say echo average. So if we did everything correctly, it should work. Okay, now you can see now this is our average. Of course, now you can go and change it, like use different functions if you want round the number to like closest value. So we can say maybe here round to the 2 decimal points precision. Okay, let's now see, and that's it. Okay, so of course now if someone changes, okay, and we refresh, we can see it's changed, and of course, so each time it will be different. Okay, so guys, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. We had small troubles here and there, but that's coding, that's how it works, and that's why I'm not cutting the videos, because I want to show what is possible and what happens and how you fix the problems. So if you have enjoyed and if you like this video, please like it and share it with your friends. And of course, if you have any questions or anything, please let me know in the comments below. Take care.